Well, John, Bruce Arians and Jason Light spoke at the scouting combine on Tuesday. I thought some very interesting topics for sure on the state of the Bucs. Did you walk away from that feeling more encouraged about this offseason, or maybe a little bit of a panic?
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit of a panic for some Bucs fans, but the reality is this, Dan. This is a team that is looking at their quarterback options as best they can. They're looking at what's available, and they're saying there just isn't that much out there in terms of what's outside of the team right now. And they want to make a move. They want to be aggressive. The reality is right now the option isn't there for them, really. So, yes, they're going to say they're happy with Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask, and to a degree, I think they are. I think they're excited to see what Blaine Gabbert does in a stable environment, and Kyle Trask does with some development, with a more talented team around him than most rookie quarterbacks, most first-time starting quarterbacks ever get a chance to play with. But they know the process is going to take some time, and they know those guys aren't Tom Brady. They're not Andrew Rodgers or Russell Wilson. They know that. So there's an understanding of that. I think it's just going to require some patience right now as they try and weed out what the options are this offseason.
You know, coming to the scouting combine as they prepare for the draft, I know they look at their list of free agents and you pick a position like running back. So maybe they've got that planned out a little bit, what they wanted to accomplish here. Then you get Ali Marpet retiring. Yeah. Do you think that changed, if not everything, a lot of their plans, at least looking at offensive line?
It has to change something, right? Because you're looking at an interior offensive line that Alex Kappa and Ryan Jensen are both free agents. So knowing that Kappa and Jensen are free agents, knowing you could be up against paying both of them the biggest contracts of their career. Kappa certainly, and Jensen is going to probably try and be the highest paid center in the NFL. That's like $13.5, $14 million per year. That's a lot for the Bucs to pay when you're already paying Donovan Smith and you know you want to pay Tristan Wirfs as well eventually. Now, not having to worry about Ali Marpet's contract or having to worry about a lot less of it because of retirement does make those options a little more likely. I think both players potentially, they definitely want to bring both players back. They don't want to try and replace three players on the interior offensive line. Very difficult to do in this not a great interior offensive line free agent class. The draft class, there are some options. Zion Johnson is a player they've met with, and they met with formally, and Bruce Arians met with, and there's definite interest there. So we'll see as things develop. He's certainly the type of player the Bucs like to target. The scheme would be a little bit of a change for him, but I definitely think they'll be interested in him at the end of the first round.
I know you work on a lot of mock drafts and you see a lot of mock drafts. You just mentioned Zion Johnson. What are some of the other players in this process through the combine and the draft buildup that you think either fit what the Bucs might need or someone that they're at least going to consider depending on what happens with free agency?
Right. It does depend a lot on what happens with free agency. So that's the first part. So don't hold me to these answers. But if I had to guess right now, I think wide receiver, defensive tackle would be two of the positions at the top of their list. Even if Chris Godwin's back, I think wide receiver, they need a wide receiver 3. Tyler Johnson had ample opportunity last year. Scotty Miller had ample opportunity. Brashad Perryman was tried out for a while. They could not find the right guy for that wide receiver 3 spot. Obviously no more Antonio Brown. So they need to fill that role. In an offense like this that throws the ball, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, they're going to throw the ball. So I think that is going to be a very important spot for them. Chris Olave from Ohio State is another player that they've met with. The end of the first round, that could very much be an option for them. That's kind of his range right now, the 20 to 40 spot, right? The Bucs are right in the middle of that, so that could be an option. The other position, defensive tackle, we haven't gotten to talk to, we'll get to talk to some of the defensive tackles this week, which will be great to hear their perspective and everything. I think Devontae Wyatt from Georgia is a name at the end of the first round to be familiar with. It was interesting. Bruce Arians said the other day, he said, like, upfield, penetrating, quick, athletic type of defensive tackle to pair with Vita Vea. So not really a Vita Vea type, not like a big body run stuffer type. So look for a different body type, but I think those are the two positions right now, along with interior offensive line, which you talked about, that I think the Bucs are looking at in the first round.